Alrighty, sit down, relax, take a seat, and today we're going to be discussing the upcoming changes that are going to be coming to Dead by Daylight. If you guys don't know, or if you guys aren't aware of what's going to happen, basically the anti-slugging changes did not come to the PTB, and the hook changes, aka the tunneling changes, did not come to the PTB. And honestly, this is my personal opinion and my only personal opinion only. So before you freak out or anything like that, please sit down and listen what I have to say. What I've noticed about the changes is a lot of people do not like them. A lot of people say that the killers are going to get punished. And from somebody who has played Survivor and both Killer, I completely understand where they're coming from. But a lot of the hate from regular people are literally just one-sided. What I've noticed about the community, it's always been super divided. Either you're a Survivor main or you're a Killer main. The majority of people are either one or the other. And a lot of the complaints that I see are mainly from Killer. Will this initially make Killer weaker, like Sadako, or low tier killers? Absolutely 100%. And I'm not even going to question that. Do I believe the changes are necessary to keep the game growing as the rate at it is? I don't feel like the changes are completely necessary. They're not, because the game's still doing good. But for the health of the game, and for the less annoyance part of the game, will it be better? Yes. I feel like if these changes come or don't come, it's not going to kill the game. But if they do come, the community feels like it's going to be heard. Well, yes, a lot of the killer mains are going to be angry or upset at the changes, especially the weaker killers or the killers that it really does affect its power. I honestly think that when I first played the PTB, and I was playing the Survivor, I did feel like a lot of the changes were good. But before you freak out or anything, the problem with that is that I felt like they were considerably overtuned. I should not be able to use tenacity, crawl really quickly, and be able to recover after only 1 minute and 30 seconds. I feel like this is way too strong, and you shouldn't even get tenacity. What I recommend for the slugging changes is for it to be around 2 minutes and 30 seconds, or around 2 minutes. And I should not be able to get the tenacity effect. I shouldn't. In order to balance it out a little bit more, you could always increase the time to get up as well. Because what I've noticed as a Survivor main, it is really boring for you to get slugged and you unable not to do anything, especially if you don't run the build perk. And the build perk is already niche as it is, and I rarely run it with my builds. And there's the argument to the killer side on where, well, this is going to kill certain killers. And, you know, it is definitely going to weaken certain killers, me being an ex-killer main. And they are going to have a mini barbecue and chili effect, as well as a generator increase regression effect, which if you don't know what that is, basically it's going to be a mini pop goes the weasel every time you individually hook someone. But are the killers still losing statistically? Yes, some of them are still losing. Obviously, the top ranking killers, for an example, the Blight or the Nurse, aren't going to get really affected badly by this. What I insist, right, is buffing killers when they release these changes. Not necessarily the killer themselves, but the benefits that they get. And depending on what killer it is, the buff should either be increased or decreased. So my thing is this: if you are going to add the changes, one thing I would like to see base kit is corrupt intervention for pretty much every single killer. Obviously, depending on what killer it is, they should have either more or less. For an example, Trapper should have the full 120 seconds that comes from corrupt intervention. This should be base. This should have been based a long time ago, and I have no idea why this isn't base. It should just be based. Another thing is barbecue and chili. Barbecue and chili should be base as well, and these are some of the changes I would add to base. They should add these to base, Another one is barbecue and chili. I feel like when I play killer and I don't run any aura perks, especially on killers, with low mobility, it is extremely hard to find these survivors. I feel like adding these two already would increase the quality of life that this game has. For an example, Nurse shouldn't be able to have the full 120 seconds, rather 45 seconds to 30 seconds. I feel like this would also help the weaker killers as well with not that much mobility. Or the Spirit. The Spirit has a great chase power, but when I play her, I kind of encounter the problem of generators still getting done. Whilst you can get to places really quickly, you can only typically pressure one person, unlike the Nurse or Blight, which have better mobility and a lower cooldown on their power, allowing to get multi-hits. The next one I would put is the Freddy perk. Freddy has this perk called Fire Up. It got buffed recently a few months ago. I feel like most killers, right, should have this base kit, but depending on every time they hook someone or an individual person, they'll temporarily get it or they'll temporarily get it through the match depending on how many people they have hooked. Obviously, someone like Blight shouldn't get more than 10%, but someone like Trapper or even Clown, which is a weaker killer, should get a very stronger effect. So for an example, I'm just spitballing numbers here, so before you need to freak out, Blight can stay at maybe 6%, 10%. Well, let's say 6, just to make it a little bit more balanced considering he's already a really, really good top-end killer. Same thing with Billy. But when it comes to Trapper, he should honestly get a 20% increase. I really, really don't mind. And every time I go against the weaker killers, that's something I've noticed is that they're unable to break pallets, or it takes them longer to get generator perks. Generator, to break generators for them to regress faster. I feel like some of these base kit changes will inevitably help the game. Now to the new status effect of the hook. The hook has a new status effect which gives you invulnerability, and you can zone and you can phase through people. I did see a lot of people complaining about this, saying that it's bad for the game. And me personally, I don't think it's bad for the game, especially if you're getting tunneled. It should immediately go away after you do a generator or you do any inconspicuous action. I don't think it should go away if you're doing a pig trap, just because I have encountered the same problem when I have the Zarina perk, which I don't remember the name of, where the pig will just try to follow me and get me off a trap. And while yes, pig isn't the strongest killer, it is quite annoying dealing with that playstyle. But I think these little buffs here and there, right, even other suggestions people could have, them adding to the killers every time they individually hook someone. So they could either make everyone have barbecue and chili, which in turn would make Billy, Blight, them stronger. But like I said and I've mentioned before, either make it weaker or make them not have the effect at all, or just make them have the effect of 1 second. This would require less prioritization on aura perks and potentially change up the meta, because what I've noticed when I've gotten to killer and I've been at a super high MMR is I've kind of required those perks in order to carry me more. For an example, let's talk about generator perks. On generator perks, what I've noticed is Trapper is really relying on them. For an example, when I used to play him constantly, something I've always needed is Corrupt Intervention was number 1, and at least 2 other gen regression perks. And I would put another fun perk, but if you're not that good at the game, you're probably going to need all gen regression perks in order to play at super high, MMR. As well as I tunneled a lot. When I played Trapper, I did tunnel a lot, and I'll admit it, because it's very hard to keep pressure, and it does suck. And I feel like killers should get rewarded even more for the changes that will be coming, and they need to be dumbed down by quite a bit by the survivors. I think it's a good step in the right direction, but obviously the numbers need to be tweaked out. This is what I personally think, and I could be 100% wrong, but I think the changes are good, especially for the casual player base, because most people don't play this game competitively or with a serious mindset. One of the last few things I want them to add that would add more versatility to the game, which I really, really like the concept of, and I've seen it in a lot of games, is a casual mode and more of a serious ranked mode. I have no idea why they have not added this to the game, but I feel like this would genuinely help the game out a lot. You can separate yourself from the casuals and you can go into more a competitive zone. And you can get like certain perks not being in play, kind of like the banning system in Marvel Rivals or in Overwatch, or you should have less or more perks depending on what the killer is. Just experimentate and have different modes like this, because this would add a lot of depth into the game, and you would be able to separate yourself from the casual players to the more competitive players in a ranked system. Obviously, the MMR in any single game, including this game, it could be absolutely atrocious, where you get extremely good people, and then the next match you get people who only have like 20 hours in the game. I feel like having these two modes would actually benefit the game a lot. And not just only that, but before they make a major change, they should personally add maybe a new game mode, right? Trying out the changes. So maybe Killer could have 5 to 6 perks, but in a special game mode, or exhaustion is reduced, but killers get like a 5% increased bonus speed constantly in these game modes. And I feel like this would just switch it up, and it'd be more fun than 2v8, because 2v8 goes here and there, but I feel like if they were to add these game modes, it would bring a lot of life to the game and would allow people to try different things or they wouldn't normally run. But I can be 100% wrong. But I think this is, a direction I would like to see the game in. I could 100% be wrong. And, I'll take full accountability for that. But I feel like having maybe these in separate game modes before they add them to the main game, right? Or let's just keep them remaining like that. I would like to see something new, because at times it can get boring, people just doing the same shit. But what do you guys think about this? This is my personal opinion, and it could change at any time because I'm still learning and I'm still processing the new updates that come out, obviously. But anyways, I hope you guys have a great day, chill out, and tell me respectfully in the comment section what you would like and not to have in the game. Anyways, take care, much love, and I'll see you very soon.
No, let me live! Yeah, in the mouth.